Hey guys, Shadowlands back for another video. Today I wanted to touch on a topic that I mentioned in one of my previous couple of videos about account migration and the reappearance of CA Classic. I kind of had to expand this commentary as I was writing it. I started just going about account migration and realized that it leads on to a few other things that are probably appropriate for the commentary. So we're touching on some stuff about the reappearance of CA Classic as well. But this is going to be a much broader topic that I cover in a lot of different videos, so chances are this won't be the only video that touches on that, but there are some aspects of that commentary that need to be included in this video, so I've included a few extra things that you guys are going to want to hear to go with the account migration talk. So, first of all, most of us know that the account migration has happened by now, where they took our accounts from Combat Arms Reloaded, and they've moved over some things to CA Classic. Particularly our rank is probably the biggest one that most people care about. That's obviously reflective of the time that we spent in the game, but all it really affects, at least in the past, is what we've been able to purchase. Now it doesn't even affect that as much anymore, as everything is for rent, and just with minimal amount of time in the game, you can level up and get access to some really good weapons, so no matter what you're planning on doing, you're going to be able to get what you want to get and play the game. So the account migration is somewhat, I guess, just aesthetic. It's not entirely important to what you're actually going to be able to access and play the game, and it doesn't really impede your ability to play the game brand new. I have some friends that have recently gotten into the game completely fresh, having never played Combat Arms before, and they're not really at all experiencing drawbacks of being a low rank in the game. So even the people who have chosen not to move over their rank don't seem to have any less of a good time with the game. However, what I've noticed, and this is actually very odd to me, is that some players are intentionally not transferring their rank on purpose. Now, I can think of a variety of reasons that they may do this. Some people may be wanting to play around with some hacks. Some people may not think that their accounts are safe being transferred. So I can think of a number of reasons, but it does mostly remain a mystery to me as to why most people wouldn't want to do this. It does reflect your time spent on the game. It reflects who you are as a player. And for those of us that have been around for a very long time, there's a lot of benefits to wanting to do that. Some people recognize us in the game. We maintain our friends a bit easier. We recognize more people that we've played with in the past. Like I mentioned in one of my previous videos, a lot of people are going and recognizing old people that they used to play with. And so you're able to find a lot of friends based on your name and rank, and people recognize that. Also, there's the issue of that if you do not transfer your account and you are a low rank, even if you have the same IGN that you used to have, people may not recognize you if you don't have the right rank. People may think you're a fake. People may think that you're not a real player, or that you're not the original, if you want to call it that. That's always been a big debate in the Combat Arms family, regardless of whether it's been on Reloaded or Classic. It really started with the whole clan system back in the day of, are you the real clan, or are you just a knockoff? So that also obviously extends to players as well. So people not transferring their rank on purpose, there's a number of different reasons. It's not really the purpose of this video, but it did strike me as very odd. So that wasn't something I personally expected. I'm not sure if VALOFE was expecting that either, or if they were expecting everybody to just mass transfer their accounts. I'm sure quite a few people did, but a surprisingly large number of players have not. Anyway, moving on. Anything account information related seems to have been transferred, but assets to your character have not. The biggest one and most glaring one, the big red eyes in the darkness, are the account perms have not been transferred. So all the things that you spent money on, some people have accounts worth thousands of dollars. Their stuff has not been transferred. Obviously, people who spent a lot of money on the game probably aren't too happy about this. But as someone who has a lot of perms myself, I actually found myself saying, you know what? This isn't actually so bad. It's not like I've actually lost them. If I want to go play with them again, I'll go hop on Combat Arms Reloaded and play with it, as broken as the game is in my opinion. However, coming onto CA Classic, it feels like they've leveled the playing field. Now, I actually have a lot to talk about in this topic, so there's a lot of great things here. When I say they leveled the playing ground, they gave a lot of the newcomers to the game and people who either migrated their accounts or are coming back from an older account, they gave us some specific perms that just kind of like get you started with the game. The L115A3, they gave out some like 30 and 60-day weapons. They gave out the P90TR. They gave out some pretty good weapons to get you started with the game, including the G36E Valkyrie. All of these are totally usable weapons. I would have personally preferred to get a DSR-1 subsonic or a sniper that has some semblance of accuracy, but the L115A3 will have to do for now. At least it has a suppressor. Some new players are upset that they can't use what they rightfully purchased, however, so despite giving out these free perms, that's not enough to appease some people, and you can understand why they'd be mad. Like I said, some people have spent literally thousands of dollars on this game. And so, of course, they want to be able to use what they purchased. So, the way I think about it is that you have to treat CA Classic like a completely different game. You can't treat it like a sequel, or even a prequel, or even a previous version. That's not even like how I like to think of this game. It's a completely different game. You do have to make your purchases again. And part of the reason I can guarantee you VALOFE is doing this is because they want to take a stab at making money off of CA, because it's now theirs. They want a return on their investment. Obviously, CA Classic is enough to draw back some players and even maybe get a few new players who can try out, hey, what is this thing that's making a resurgence? Why am I seeing advertisements for this all over the internet? And it's probably because VALOFE wants to go and make a little bit of a profit on this. They obviously bought the game from Nexon. It probably was not super cheap because, you know, Nexon likes to make a lot of money, so they charged VALOFE up the ass for it. And now VALOFE wants to turn around and they say, okay, well, it's one thing to make money on Reloaded, but most people already have a lot of their perms there. So if we clone the entire game back to a previous version, obviously Combat Arms Classic, but then we remove all their perms, some people will have the incentive to go and buy some other stuff, because right now the game is ripe for buying things. Reason being is because nobody has any of the really, really good perms. And so if you go and buy one, you are getting a definite edge in the game. Not greatly huge edges. I mean, it's not like an RPG where you can buy a weapon that has specifically higher stats or anything. Some stats do matter in this game, like sniper accuracy that I was bitching about earlier, but for the most part, it's just, if you want to go spend money right now, it is a prime time to do it because it will give you an edge over other players just in gameplay. So there's that. So like I said, VALOFE wants to make money. This is their way of doing it. Anyway, despite having to buy back a lot of old stuff again, things in the shop are relatively affordable for renting with GP. So this is my way of saying, okay, VALOFE is definitely trying to make the player base happy, and as I mentioned earlier, new players aren't having a super hard time getting into the game. This is partially because things for rent are actually pretty good, and you have a very wide variety of things that you can rent and play with. And they're not too expensive. A few games and you can afford something. It's not too bad. So it's not locking you out of the game if you're just relying on GP, or you choose not to go spend more money on the game even if you have in the past. If you're one of the players who migrated their account, lost their perms like I did, and you're just choosing not to spend money on the game right now. At least for the time being. But there's obviously still bugs and things missing, so this is also kind of the trade-off here. They're doing their best to make the player base happy. VALOFE is doing a pretty good job so far. Obviously, CA Classic was a pretty good move in my opinion. I'm very happy it's back, and I can't believe I'm the only person. But the thing is, they have a very delicate balance now. They have to make the player base that they already have very happy, and they don't really get a lot of shots at this. Nexon took a lot of stabs at this. Some things were great, some things were not, but VALOFE really has to hit the nail on the head kind of on the first try here. Obviously, they made a really good marketing campaign when they announced CA Classic was coming back. Obviously, the voting system flopped terribly because they couldn't get enough votes until they finally pushed it. We all knew that as soon as we saw that it was coming out, so it's not like they were going to actually require that many votes. But now there's these bugs and things missing, and it's very, very blatant. Things like the messenger, things like the clan system having tons of bugs. Only time will tell what they're going to put their energy towards in order to fix. And so depending on what they prioritize, it will greatly affect their relationship with the player base. And so if they choose to go and fix the messenger right away, then people are going to be pretty pleased. I think that is the #1 bug. If they go and try to fix some shop UIs, that would be great. Go and fix some clan admin stuff, that would be great. If they try to go and put their time into fixing the voice chat right now, when most people try to already use TeamSpeak or Discord or some third-party program, people probably won't be as pleased about them spending their time on that. Or if they try to jump in right away and make a whole bunch of new weapons, we probably want to see the game be fixed before they try to further improve it, if that's what we're going to call it for the time being. So, long story short, whatever gets prioritized on the fixing list, I guess, the to-do list they've got, I don't know how they do it. If they have a little text document saying, fix this, fix that, fix this. Hopefully, some of the better things are on the top of that list. One of the really big things that they have going against them, at least in my opinion, is that the community we have here is very... Toxic is not the right word. Cynical is the right word. We are cynical. We are doubtful. We have been railed in the butt so many times by Nexon. We, at this point, just want to have a game that is fun to play, reminiscent of the times that we spent in middle school and high school enjoying this game, or even college, I guess, if you're that old. But my point is, we want a game that's playable and that's fun. But they have a really, really, really high bar that we've set them because we just kind of expect everything to fail at this point. So they really need to hit this nail on the head, like I mentioned earlier, in order to impress us. And I'm not the only person that's saying that. I hold Combat Arms to a very high standard because I love it. It's not because I think the game is actually horrible. I think the base game is a lot of fun. But for the same reason, I love it, and I'm going to hold it to a very high standard. People have said this before, and I know I'm not the only one that says this. So if they want this game to be the cash cow that it could become, they've got a lot to work on. They've got a lot of work to do. And hopefully they put in the time and the effort to make this game what it has the potential to become. So, like I said, potentially they can make a lot of people very, very happy, depending on how well they listen to the community. If they do a good job of listening to us, they keep their ears to the ground, they get into the forums, they get into the different sites that we have online, they read the Reddit, and they see what the players are talking about in-game, and perhaps, just like the GMs used to with Nexon, if they get in and play the game with us, then chances are they're going to be able to get a lot more information to make this game better otherwise, and maybe make it so that losing our perms when we transferred our accounts over is still worth it, and that this game still has some stuff to give us, so that we can still come here and play and have a good time. I'm going to end the commentary here, guys. Thank you for coming to listen. I will see you guys in the next video, and Shadowlands out. Have a good one.